When Treyarch released Black Ops Cold War back in the winter of 2020, Zombies players noticed an immediate and major change to the way Treyarch handles one of the most well-known features of the Call of Duty Zombies experience, and that is its Easter eggs. Where gone were the days of days-long Easter egg hunts where the whole community would band together to try to find the steps for the main quest, and in its place were fairly straightforward main quests that were solved under an hour since they launched. Well, since that game's release, Treyarch did something very surprising that they basically never do. First, they told us why they made that change in Black Ops Cold War, and secondly, they've now talked about how it's going to change in the future. But first, as a bit of a rite of passage moment, it's time, because the sponsor of this video is Raid Shadow Legends, who's celebrating their 3-year anniversary this month. Now I want to share with you my top 3 favorite champions from Raid. First is Belnor from the High Elves. He hits a single enemy as hard as he possibly can and then hides. Fantastic for clan bosses and especially the Spider's Den. Another one is Elder Skarg from the Barbarians. He specializes with taking down enemies with loads of buffs. And the last is Robar. His default skill can create an infinite stun chain, and he has a pair of brutal AoE attacks that hit incredibly hard. This month, Raid's celebrating their 3-year anniversary, and it's gonna be huge. They've got an insane amount of things in store. We're talking new champions, new artifact sets, and if that's not enough, Raid's best prizes on offer ever, including awesome champions, piles and piles of shards, and tons of other goodies. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you're not playing Raid yet, you can check my link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen now, where you'll get a special huge birthday package worth 40 bucks. We're talking 3 free champions at once: Mariscord, Tiger Soul, and Romero, plus 10 Magic XP brews, 10 Force XP brews, and 10 Spirit brews. And since it's Raid's birthday, the gifts keep on coming. Players can get a bunch of free birthday gifts worth over $25. To do it once you're in game, after clicking on the links, just enter promo code 3YearsRaid to get your hands on everything. Thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video, and be sure to check them out today. Okay, so the first time we've ever heard Treyarch talk in depth in the change in the way they've created Easter eggs in Black Ops Cold War was just after the release of the Outbreak game mode. Flat out, quote, "On this project," meaning Black Ops Cold War, "we've actually made it a mission to make Easter eggs more accessible or easier for what we call the main quest." He then said so much development time goes into these things, and if you look at the metrics, less than 2% of the players were actually completing the main Easter eggs in prior games, unless it was shown on YouTube. Essentially admitting straight up that they consciously made the Easter eggs in Black Ops Cold War significantly easier both to complete and to discover than in prior games. And, well, the reason for that is kind of understandable, to be honest. Where they do say that according to their own metrics, only 2% of players were actually completing the main Easter eggs in prior games. And, well, as we know, a lot of work does go into these main Easter egg quests, and if not many players are actually able to access that content, well, Treyarch has decided they needed to make a change. We obviously saw the outcome of that decision in Black Ops Cold War. But, of course, these things exist on a scale. If one side is like Black Ops 3 Revelations main Easter egg, which is near impossible to find on your own without a guide, it took the community nearly a month to figure out, and then on the other side we have something like Die Maschine, which is probably the easiest main Easter egg ever released in a modern COD Zombies game, where it was fully completed in under an hour after release, where maybe a better middle ground exists between those two extremes that actually Treyarch seems to have realized. Where when one of the lead Zombies developers was straight up asked the question that asked, "Kevin, is there any chance of increasing the difficulty of quests or Easter eggs going forward? Maybe a system where there's an easier, shorter quests for players to unlock, something to further the narrative, and a hard one that acts like a end credits scene." Similar to what we saw, if you guys remember, back in the very first map of COD WW2 that featured a casual and hardcore Easter egg. Well, to that, Kevin Drew responded, "Anything is possible." And I think actually the next part is very important. He said, "We are well aware that the community wants more challenge at the high rounds and harder to discover elements, just like the older games. We want to find a way to have that without removing everyone's ability to experience the story." Where, to be honest, from my personal perspective, that's basically the exact response from Treyarch that I wanted. That they know that the sense of discoverability of Easter eggs, that there's always something more to discover on a round-based Zombies map that was present in basically all of the Zombies games of the past, wasn't really there like it was in the past in Black Ops Cold War, where everything was presented much more upfront, things were found much more quickly, and that sense of discoverability, which actually prompts a lot of people to play zombies, was lost somewhat. But he does mention, and you have to admit, there is major benefits to making Easter eggs easier, and that more people got to experience main Easter eggs in Black Ops Cold War than basically any game in the past. And he does say that in their next game, they do want to find a way to have that sense of discoverability without removing everyone's ability to experience the story or complete the main Easter egg. Going back to the idea of Easter eggs on a scale, right, between crazy difficult like Revelations and super easy like Die Maschine, there is a middle ground here, or at least a side that keeps the sense of discoverability a little bit more prevalent than it has been in the past. And that was brought up once again recently after the release of Black Ops Cold War's Super Easter egg, in which one of the former Zombies directors for Infinite Warfare Zombies by Infinity Ward named Lee Ross basically shouted out the fact that their game had the best Super Easter egg ever in the history of zombies, hard stop. And Kevin Drew, one of the Zombies leads at Treyarch, responded to that by saying, "You and your team set a very high bar, Lee, hoping to raise it in the next game in regards to Easter eggs." And in terms of exactly when that next game will be, it obviously isn't in Vanguard Zombies, as that's being developed by a separate Zombies team at Treyarch that is largely unaffiliated with those that were working on Black Ops Cold War, but rather the game we can expect these changes to be made is, well, one of two choices. Either it's in the rumored Zombies standalone game that has been leaked to be in development with a likely release year of 2023, so perhaps that is the game in which we can expect these changes to occur, or it'll be the game released the year after, Treyarch's 2024 mainline premium COD release, likely to be the next iteration in the Black Ops franchise. I know one of the biggest criticisms of Black Ops Cold War, as great as the gameplay of that game is that the zombies maps themselves feel just straight up shallow, especially when you compare them to zombies maps of old, Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, Black Ops 2. Doesn't matter, there's a lot less to do in Cold War zombies maps. And the fact that not only does Treyarch recognize that, but now they're willing to admit it publicly that yeah, they might have went too far to the Die Maschine side, the super easy side of the scale in Cold War, and that we're likely to see a little bit of a rebound or a correction in their next game can only be a good thing. But it also is something that now that it has been revealed publicly, we kind of as a community have to hold Treyarch to this when they do release their next game. But guys, that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider leaving a thumbs up down below. If you're excited to see the correction in terms of Easter egg difficulty in their next game, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think. But I want to thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you with another Zombies news video very soon. Peace.